Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys want to know how to make this beautiful dress, make sure you keep watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can see more videos from this page. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making the dress that's currently on the screen. These are a couple materials that you're going to need to make this dress. Obviously a sewing machine, measuring tape, chalk, needles, pins, a ruler, scissors, iron, and the fabric. So right here we have 5 yards of fabric. We're going to be using about 2.5 yards for the style. To be honest, you can use 5 yards to do 2 dresses depending on the lengths. Today we're going to be doing length 38. That's above the knee for my client. She's around 5'2" or 5'3" if I'm not mistaken. I'll confirm that later. So you're going to first cut this into 2 yards or cut the length that you need. So for example, if you need 38, you might want to cut like around 46 or something, because the middle panel is always going to be shorter, so you need to make sure that it's long enough for when you sew it together. You're going to lose some inches. All right, so this is the fabric on fold. This is the width of the fabric, that's the length. So let me just fold it right quick so you can see. So this is the full fabric. You're gonna fold it by the longest side first. I kind of cut it uneven, so that's why it looks like this. And then you're gonna fold it this way. So let me just measure it so that you can see how long it is. This is about 44 inches on fold. 44 inches on fold. So I'm gonna use this paper as an example. Imagine this is the 5 yards. So we cut it in half, right? That's what we did. If you have 2.5 yards, you don't have to worry about this. I'm just showing you how I'm folding it. So this is our 2.5 yards. We fold it like this and then fold it like this. That's how I got this. Hope that makes sense. We're gonna keep this folded, but we're gonna open this fold up to be like that. So this is double, if you can see. We're gonna go from the edge and measure 6 inches from the edge. Let me get a different color chalk so you can see. So you're gonna measure 6 inches from the edge all the way down. This is gonna be your middle panel. Take your ruler and rule all the way down to the end. Then you're gonna cut it out. So then you're gonna refold your fabric. Or like this. Actually, like this. Let me put this aside so I can show you what to do with this right quick. So with this is the middle panel. This is the right side of the fabric. This is the wrong side. We're gonna switch it to the wrong side of the fabric. If your fabric doesn't have a wrong side, then it doesn't matter what side you do it on. This is the wrong side of the fabric. We're on the wrong side of the fabric. You're gonna determine how long you want your middle cut to be. I usually do around 14.5 for all my clients, but I'm gonna do 14s because I think she doesn't want it as deep. So you're gonna mark at the 14 line, right? Then you're gonna mark in the middle of this panel. So this is, after I cut it, ended up being 6.5, so I think 3.25 would be the middle. You're gonna rule that all the way down to the end. Then you're gonna take this to your sewing machine. Hold on. You're gonna take this to the sewing machine. You can't really see the place that I just ruled, and then sew on the line that you just ruled all the way down. I just came back from the sewing machine. we're gonna take this and then open it like this, right? Take the middle, open it like that. Then you're gonna iron, y'all. Y'all have to have an iron to do this, can't lie. It's gonna look really messy if you don't. If you want your work to be neat, you have to iron. My iron is even off. All this talk. Okay, it's on. If you have chalk that bleeds through, you're gonna be careful. Maybe you don't want to press as hard so that it doesn't show on the wrong side, or you can use a color that's similar to the material. Because I'm not gonna lie, the chalk is kind of hard to get out, so don't press down too hard. Usually I don't have a problem with it, but sometimes when I use wax chalk, it bleeds through for whatever reason. It's annoying. I'm gonna iron it. Make sure it's crisp. Sides. Now both sides are good to be the right side. It doesn't really matter. Usually I use this as the wrong side when I'm stitching so that this doesn't accidentally show. So you can use this side to make it your life easier. So just iron it on both sides in case you change your mind later on what side you want to use. Alright, now that this is ironed, we're going to set this to the side. We're going to take our iron and iron this part and this middle. You could go ahead and iron the whole thing, to be honest, but we're going to iron at the end too, so it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you get the shoulder line in the middle because you're going to need that to be ironed. So my client is 5'4", and her hip is 39. So the measurements you're going to need your client's hip and your client's height, as well as your client's shoulder to hip measurement. Now if you don't have your client's shoulder to hip measurement, since I'm 5'2", I know it's going to be like around 26 or 27 from the shoulder line. So for starters, usually I do 8.5 for the shoulder line. I'm not going to mark it. So from 8.5, I do around 10 inches. I'll do 10.5 or 11 for the armhole, for the arms, the sleeve length, I'm sorry. And then from that, you're going to do about 12 inches. You can lightly draw a line in case you change your mind. You don't want it to be too hard to come out. So you can't see my line just in case I want to change my mind and make the sleeves longer. So you're going to take your client's hip. Your client's hip is, well, first we're going to do shoulder to hip. Like I said, that's around 26, probably in this case 27. Gotta mark that. My client's hip, like I said, is 39. So we're going to do 39 divided by 4, which is 9 3/4. We're going to add about 3. We're going to add about 1 to 2. It depends on how tight you want the bottom. I'm gonna add 2.5 inches to that just to play it safe. I'm gonna just round it to 3 because when I sew it, we have to take in account allowance. So I'm gonna do 13 because I'm sure she also doesn't want it too tight. And then she wants hers around 39 inches. So I'm gonna mark 41 and then we can fix it later. You don't have to mark the end length yet because you can just cut it when you're done. I usually don't mark it because sometimes it becomes shorter. So from the hip measurement to the shoulder, this is the shoulder. So remember how I had you measure 12? From that 12 mark, maybe like around 4 inches, you're gonna mark and do a curve. Right? This is the hip line. We're gonna roll that all the way down. Then Usually with the short dresses, they have a cow shape so that when you tie the waist, it snatches and you can really see the silhouette of the body. So I usually do like a dramatic cow shape and then curve it into the armhole. I hope you guys can see that. Let me try to zoom in just a little bit. Uh-oh. So we have this. So we're gonna cut that out. Right? So for this scrap fabric, make sure you don't throw it away because we're gonna use this for the inner belt. So you can just take 2 pieces or whatever. You can cut out about maybe like 5 inches. It should be about like maybe 20 to 25 inches long. I'd be like 23. I don't really measure it though, I just eyeball it, but alright, you can use this as your inner belts. And this one could be thrown away unless you want pockets, you can keep this. So I went ahead and sewed my inner belts. So I put that to the side. We're gonna open this fabric up and determine which is our front and back. It really doesn't matter. They're both the same thing. All right. So as you can see, this is the shoulder line. You can tell because it's the only fold that's in the middle of the both armholes. And that's the part that we ironed earlier. This is gonna be where we measure for our inner belt. So we're gonna measure first. We're gonna measure down in the middle, 16. Because that's our shoulder to waistline. I use 16 for most of my clients, unless they're tall or really short. 16 is a sweet spot. Then I do, depending on the client's waist, I do from 10 if they're really petite, 11 is normal, and then I do 12 or 13 if they're from 12 to 16 if they're plus size. So I'm gonna do 10 because this client is a little bit on the petite side. We're doing that at the 16 mark that we marked. So in the middle, I'm gonna do 10 again. That's where we're gonna put our inner belts. So you're gonna pin this. And we're working on the wrong side of the fabric, by the way. So I'm gonna fold this. We're gonna take our fabric, turn it sideways, and then fold it left on the right side. Left on right side. Make sure your inner belt is not in the fold. Right, make sure the shoulder lines are matched up. So this is the shoulder line, this is the back side of the fabric, this is the front side of the fabric. Unfold, left on right. I'm about to cut out the middle panel. So this is the neckline. You're gonna measure a width of 4, and on the back side a neck depth of 1 inch. So 4 and 1, and we're gonna connect that to curve. Make sure you curve it. Hope you guys can see that. Then from there, from the neckline, you're gonna measure 9 for the slant. And then you're gonna just measure 2 from the middle all the way down so that we can fit our panel there. So you're gonna rule this from the 9" to the neckline. It should be slanted like a V. And then you're going to move this part straight down to the 2 inches, from the 2 inches all the way down. Then you take your handy dandy scissors and cut. So right now we're done with all the prepping, thankfully. We're gonna take our dress to the sewing machine. We're gonna hem the arms. We're gonna sew the inner belts together. Then we're going to take the middle panel, and this is the wrong side of the fabric. This is the middle panel. You're gonna mark the middle panel. You can notch it if you want to so that you're sure. Right here, we know this is the middle panel because of this fold, but in case you can't see it on camera, I'm gonna notch it so that we know that that's the middle. We're gonna mark that with our, we're gonna match the middle of the panel and then sew it like that. Hope you guys can see well. You're gonna sew all the way down till you get to the bottom. Sew all the way down till you get to the bottom. And then we're gonna sew the sides of the dress together, and then we'll be done. Hey guys, so the dress is 90% finished. We went ahead and sewed the middle. We hemmed the shoulders and we sewed the sides. So now it's time to do the end of the dress. So this client's shoulder to knee, she's 5'4", so I'm gonna guess like around 38 inches. Yep, 38 inches. We're gonna cut the excess. So guys, this is why I say if you're like using fabric you already have, you want to make sure the actual fabric is way longer than the length that you need, because the middle panel will always be shorter because of the neck. So you see the middle panel is shorter than the rest of the fabric, but the length is still good, so we're okay. So we're about to hem this and then iron, and then we'll be done. Alright y'all, so this is the dress finished. We're going to iron out. You see how puffy this looks, and you see these wrinkles, and this, baby, you gotta iron, okay? Alright guys, so this is the dress. I'm about to put it on the mannequin so that you guys can see how it's looking. This is how the dress came out. Super cutesy. And it is knee length. Very cute. If you guys like this tutorial, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend or two. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. And if you end up making this dress, DM me or tag me. I want to see it. Bye guys, see you in the next video.